turning to the US election very quickly, I mentioned this earlier, but I'm really keen to hear your take, Aaron, because you follow this closely. Greg Sheridan argues that Joe Biden would be more problematic for Australia, and he points out how good Trump has been for the Australia and US alliance. What's your view on this?
Shari, it's a really interesting and provocative article by Greg Sheridan. And in one sense, I kind of agree with one of his underlying points, which is, I think, on balance, there's a very strong argument that Republican presidencies and administrations do favour Australia. Because generally they're free trade. And there's two really big things we need from America. One is a leadership that pushes free trade around the world, because we're a big exporting nation. And the other is international security. Now, unfortunately, in this point, I disagree with Greg. Because Donald Trump is not a free trader. He believes in doing ad hoc deals around the place. He's not consistent. He's not pushing free trade around the world, which is really what we need. Secondly, he's weakened the international security apparatus. He's erratic. He's unpredictable. He was threatening to pull out of NATO. I doubt if he's ever heard of the ANZUS Treaty, which is the foundation of our external military security. So I've got to say, I really strongly disagree with Greg Sheridan on this point. Also, I think Joe Biden is going to be returned to American foreign policy orthodoxy. Now, the Democrats have moved a bit to the left, and they aren't, as I think as an overall party, as committed to free trade as we would like. But Joe Biden himself, I think, is obviously from the centre of the party, and he will be putting in place, I think, a return to normal in American sort of foreign posture, which we can only welcome.
Look, the only point I would make on that, of course, Gemma, is that in terms of foreign policy, Trump has been the least aggressive president in a long time.
I was going to just say to Aaron's point about returning to, normal for the Democrats, does that mean sending the young men of America's poorest states off to battlefields in foreign countries so that they can be cannon fodder? So the Democrats can do dirty deals with the Middle East? If that's normal, then I don't think America will vote for that. And the other thing I would say is, I think Greg's article was incredibly insightful. And if you take the emotion out of the discussion, as in the emotions that Trump seems to generate in people, very, very polarising ones, there's nothing but common sense, in fact, in Greg's article. And, Joe Biden, jokes aside, can't string a sentence together. Is it the Biden presidency or will it be the Harris presidency? And I just don't believe, and for the record, I don't have a horse in the race, I just don't believe people should be writing Trump off just yet. And for the record, Sherry, I've quite enjoyed, as a spectator, watching him blow up the idea of what a president should be and how a president should behave, and delivering policy outcomes for some of America's most marginalised people that put the Democrats to shame.